bit of a hard time getting this thing to start up. Just wanted to think about it. It didn't want to get on there. So let's see here. All right. This is the second day of the VIPER build. I've got the fuselage basically complete. All we need to do, undo this here. Down there. We're going to work on elevator stabilizer next. I already cut the leading and trailing edges for it. So here's the fuselage. It's already been drilled, and we need to cut a spar, the beam location here. But I won't do that until I get the beam built. And instead of running that OS32F, I'm going to run a Super Tiger 46. Just the way it goes. Looks like I need to sand this a little more. It's kind of out of square. Not a lot, but a little. Slightly out of square. We'll do that real quick. No big deal. It is ever so slightly out. I don't make anything like they used to. Does it mean anything? No, but I like my stuff to look complete, you know, when you get it. That's pretty good there too. So good enough. So I've went out to the garage and I took some old lumber that I had 1x2s balsa, and I cut the leading edge, which fits in there like so, and the trailing edge, which fits in here like so. So we need to figure out what we're going to do here. But I figured for now we'd do an elevator stabilizer on this. By the next video, we'll be putting this together, which is tomorrow. I figure that if I spend the night cutting some ribs, I haven't quite figured out how many yet. Of course, I have an extra spar here that I did lay it out on this balsa spar. We're going to cut a basswood spar. Well, at least not basswood, white pine spar. At least we can figure out how many ribs we need. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 2, 3, 4, 5, 35. That's 70 ribs I need. So we'll get after that. We're going to cut these out of 3/32. Everything's a little bit scaled down on this airplane. 70 ribs, 3/32. Now I made this trailing edge 3/4 of an inch tall. A couple of reasons. We're gonna groove in for a pocket hinge here, and I'm going to sand this down to 1/2 inch, so it'll have an angle on it, whatever that is. Like so. And then of course the leading edge is a 1-inch piece, 1/2 by 1, and it'll have a pretty good radius on it, like so. But like I said, I think the first thing I'm going to do today, I need to put this back, today is to build an elevator stabilizer. Hopefully this is long enough. Yeah, it is. I'll get rid of all this stuff. Well, I can use these. Use one of them. Okay. Here's my rudder template. Too bad I didn't cut this thin shit in the right way. Nope, can't use it. This is the thick shit, boy, it's tough too. Okay. So 3 9/16 it looks like. And I'm on line 3.5. So we want to come up here. We're going to make this 3.5. Let's see. You can see my method of design is evolving all the time. Where's my steel rule? There's one there, but I don't want that one. Looks like I got to use that one. Well, I could have used the square, I suppose. Needs to be off a quarter on each side because the fuselage is 1/2 inch. It needs to come to there. We want it 24. 24. Let me see if I got 54.5. 55. Half of 55. $27. I'll make it 25, 26. It'll be 13 on each side. 13. Here again, these are basically standard widths because our balsa wood comes in 3 and 4 inch widths. This airplane won't have the fancy, flat bearings and that stuff, but okay, there's the elevator layout. We got a 1/2 inch wide here off center. This is that's the center line. This is center. And so we need this to be make it a 1/4 inch off that, so that'll be fine. All right, there we go. Got lucky just enough. Wonder if I got the thinner stuff over there. You get this stuff from Joann Fabric. It's quilting, or you can get it from Tom Morris is no longer, but this is the same thing as what he used to sell. Nope, I don't have any more thin shit. But Walmart probably sells it, come to think of it. So, well, we just got enough too. That's the center line. I need the scalpel. Scalpel. Where is the exact? I got a million of them and I never can find one. Unbelievable. I found this. Looking for it earlier. The saw. Oh, here's a knife. Kit knife. Probably gonna break. Oh, there's the exact though. Right there. Don't move. C-temp. That's what I use to sew. This is just quilting pattern stuff for women's sewing. I would imagine Walmart sells it. Okay. Let's see if we can get it torn out of there. Okay, we need a couple pieces of wood to cut this out of, and there's our elevator stabilizer. Let me walk over to my pile and see if I got any. I think I do. And I got a few pieces. $82, that's too much. 82, that's 76, 74, 74. Now we got enough here. I mean, these are kind of heavy for flaps, but I'm not using my best stuff on this airplane. No way. Nice and straight. Okay, there's our stabilizer. Hey, Nelson. Make it easy on yourself. Don't overthink it. It's real simple shit. This saw. Is this saw gonna cut it? Probably not. These X-Acto saws ain't worth a shit. I need to go out in the garage and bring in my stuff. Need to bring in the back saw. Where's here's glue. Like hoop in it. What do you think that? Damn. The thing is, I don't want to glue it to the paper. That's what I'm having. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grin and bear it, I guess. Guess we could do it on this. Yep. So on this video, I'll do the elevator stabilizer, and when I end it, I'll cut out all the ribs, and then we'll lay out a spar on the next one and start putting it together. Day 3, start putting it together. Yo! We'll get it this time. We will get it this time. Let's see, it's over there. Okay. You can't do that. Okay, whatever. The grain is powerful. If I wasn't video, and I would cut this on the jigsaw. I'm videoing, so I don't want to get out of camera sight. So we just cut it like this. Of course, I'm going to have to go over the belt sander and sand the tips. Damn. Tough. There it is. We should have a better chance on this side. Got my heart right there. I figured this is a good way to use up my shit wood. There it is. Okay. We're going to walk over the belt sander. Belt sand this up. Easy peasy, nice and greasy. So here's our stabilizer. Now we need 2 elevators. That's a 74. Close enough. We're going to cut these on the saw, I believe. I think I need to square that too because it don't look good. Not a square. Not a square. Well, that's pretty close. Not quite. So we need the need a square. Ain't off by much. It ain't off by much. Whoops, forgot to put the blade back in it. That's what I used to cut out that hole in the fuselage, and you gotta drill a hole and fish it through. Come on, get in there. There it is. There it is. So what I do to get these exactly the same, first thing I'm going to do is cut off this trailing edge here. Hard. Want to walk up on the extreme hard spots. This stuff should finish really good. It's good and hard, 7-pound wood. Okay. So in order to make them exactly the same, just glue them together and sand them at the same time. I mean, this goes so fast. If you know what you're doing, it's ridiculous. Yeah, that'll be good enough, maybe. make a square mark on this so we know exactly what's square. Now you got two exactly the same. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Should have a ½ inch between them. Yeah, 3/4, close enough. Yeah, they're not very expensive. Harbor Freight's got them for $100. It'll sure speed up your work a lot. I mean, I can do everything I can do with power tools I can do by hand. It just takes longer. So in 45 minutes, I made an elevator stabilizer. Of course, I still have to sand them. That'll take another bit of time. But so it's a little long, or is it? It's the pin. Yeah, it's the pin. No, we got to take 16th off of that. 16th. That's okay. Another reason why I like building my own stuff. There are no rules. I do what I get to do what I want to do. I don't have to build it exactly as something. That fits good. And we'll put this back on. Gives me a 3D vision of what this thing is going to look like. I suppose I could pin it. This one on that side because it's going to. Well, as promised, we got elevator stabilizer. I don't know if the plans are going to be made available to this or not. We'll see how it flies. It should fly good. There's what it looks like. To get that lump out of it, but it should look good. Any questions? I mean, you saw how simple it is. Simple. 45 minutes we got a stabilizer from start to finish. Well, less the sanding. It'll take me probably an hour to round all this stuff off. Now, I don't think I'm gonna do a knuckled hinging on this. It's just too much of a pain in the ass for a profile. So I'll get me some plate hinges and put it in there. I need to make a horn yet. I dug out in the garage and found that I got some camping butane, so I can silver solder. I got some flaps here that I had cut for another airplane, and I think they're going to work on this. They're cut and sanded already. So that's one. Let's see if the other one's here. I think I was building something in Ohio, and I just scrapped them. They weren't light enough. Yeah, it's probably over in my pile of wood. I'm sure the other one's here somewhere. But on this particular thing, I don't really care what the weight comes out. I mean, I like to keep it around 40 ounces, but there's not enough airplane here to start picking up a whole lot of weight. And we got a 46. It'll probably fly up to 50 ounces. 40 would be better. So I need to make a cheek cowl yet. So I got the 1/2 inch here for that. That don't go on until after the wing's completed. So it slides over the wing and its first 1-inch rib. So that'll strengthen the nose up. I got to make a slider for the tank. Hey, John. The tank is going to be 6-ounce clunk tank. Goes right here. We'll make a. I did not try it. It's still sitting. Still sitting over there. I got sidetracked on other shit. I was gonna make props, and now I'm making airplanes. But yeah, 6-ounce clunk tank, Super Tiger 46, 1 3/4 magnesium spinner. I mean, should be slick enough. Now, the reason why I wanted to use that Super Tiger is I have mufflers for it. I have tube mufflers and tongue mufflers for Super Tiger 60s, which will fit the 46. So I have a lot of options. I also have some 11.6 EW propellers that I need to use, so we can use those. And I'd have to, work up some kind of 11.45 prop for the OS32F. Do I think a 32 would pull this? Absolutely. It'll put out as much horsepower as a 60. You just got to tune it different. Yes, muffler pressure to a uniflow line. My Super Tigers run all the same. I make it simple. You know, what fuel to use, what prop to use, and you just flip it and that's the RPM you let it go at, and up you go. And I never have any problems with them, unless you get crap in the tank like I did at the Nats in Classic where I leaned out. I think I'd have been. I could have possibly won it if I had a decent run on the motor. My second score was total crap. Everybody else's went up, mine went down because it's going way too fast. I should have aborted it, but I didn't. Anyway, neither here nor there. I think it looks good. We'll get the beam wing built. Start tomorrow. I'll see if I can dig up another flap. Tonight, while off camera, I will airfoil the stab and elevator. Of course, that's not really. I'll cut some ribs first, I think. I need 70 half ribs and 4 1-inch ribs, which I think I got enough material to do that. Yeah, I got enough. It's 236 grams, so that's not the. Yep. It'll have the whole 9 yards. Silk span and dope, nice finish. Yep. The build will take a week. The finish will take 2 months. That's just the way it is. Steve Barrier, if you're watching, how we coming on the VIPER plans? Everybody's waiting on you. Are you guys interested in a set of plans for the profile version too? It's not going to be the same. No tapered trailing edge. It'll be straight trailing edge beam wing. You don't see any beam wing profiles ever. I have never seen one. Not saying that there's never been one, but I've never seen one. And there might be a reason. I might find that out. It might not work. I don't know. But this could easily. All right. This could easily be transferred to a D-tube or a foam wing. If this was a foamy, it would take 1 day to put together. 1 day. I wonder where we're going to come out on weight. We're going to have 6 ounces more in a wing. Get the scale and see where we're at. And something like this, you could build it too flimsy. The tail end be way too nose heavy. Okay, let's see where we're at. 16, it'll be 16 ounces as an airframe. So 16, it'll be under 40 ounces. 16, 16, 26, 3, 26, 27, 28 plus 3 is 28, plus 3 is 31, plus a 6-ounce finish is 39. It'll be 39 ounces. That'll be good. It'll be a good airplane. 39 ounces will be real good. So what we got here is for this part right here, we have 10 ounces. 7-ounce wing is 17. Plus 3 for wheels is 20. No, that ain't right. 20. 30, yeah, that's right. 31 ounces, because you got 11 ounces here, so that's 31 ounces. 31 and 6-ounce finish is 39 or 37. I'll give a few. I'd say it's going to be under 40 ounces, so that's a good weight. Here's the detail that I cut out of the center. I mean, that thing is like rock, solid rock. And if you used good wood instead of what I used my RC wood on this. Probably could get it down to 35 ounces finished. Oh, I forgot push rods. Let's see. Gotta think again. We got 10. This is 10. We got 10, that's 20, 21, 22, and 3 is 25. 3 is 25, 26, 27, and 6. Yeah, it's gonna be under 40 ounces, so I'm happy. It'll be fine. Any way I look at it, it's going to be under 40 ounces, even by adding extra. So there's a lot to be said for built up fuselages. They weigh a whole lot more than Let's see what this weighs by itself. To get a horn in there too. It's 2.1 on the other job. These are normally 3 ounces. But this one is, yeah, it's 3 ounces. 2.6 plus hinges plus horn. It'll be 3 ounces. So we're in there. I mean, I like the shape of that. That looks pretty spiffy, I think. Looks similar to what the other one looks like without the counterbalancers on it. So there's my theories behind scratch building. What do you guys want me to do? You want me to hang on for another hour, or if you do, I'll sand this up. If not, we can end up, you know, it don't matter. I'll show you how I sand this real quick. It's real simple. So we'll get 2.5 power. If I do, though, I'm going to get me a bottle of water and drink for a second. Need a pen. No color on thoughts on color. Maybe I'll paint this airplane that lime green. Of course, I don't know. Green's not a good color. It kind of blends into the background. Whatever it is, we're going to make it white. You know, make it look bright, flashy. Of course, you don't get any appearance points for profile. But it don't matter. Maybe I'll have to fly it in a contest sometime, you know. That's basically why people don't spend much time on profiles. They're plywood. They're plywood, and you wouldn't believe what I got in it for motor mounts. But it'll be fine. I don't have maple motor mounts in this one. 6/10. We're trying the poor man's way to go. Because I ain't paying that Brodak price for maple. I wanted like $5 a stick, or maybe it was $7 a stick for maple motor mounts. Are out of their mind. And if it works in this, I'll do it in my big airplane. And they're not the cutoffs, but they are white pine. Out in the shop, I had a piece of 1x8 clear white pine, about a foot long. So I cut them up into 3/8 by half motor mount material. Pretty light, pretty solid. I mean, I don't foresee it coming apart. It'd be a miracle. We're going to Z-epoxy all that and, you know, fuel seal it anyway. So I balance my props so we ain't got much engine vibration. They run, of course, you guys seen it. They run back to here, full length. And then in these holes is 1/2 inch. I think those are poplar dowels inserted, so this can't crush. This ain't gonna crush, and this thing I already tried to crush it, you know, with the motor mount bolts, but you can't crush it. It ain't coming apart. Ain't no way. So from now on, if that works, and I don't have a problem next season with it, I'll build airplanes with white pine motor mounts. Before I couldn't do that, but now that I got a cabinet shop in the garage, I can cut anything I want. Just like I cut this stuff, you know. Put this on this is balsa wood. I cut it, put it on my table saw, and ripped it out. Because you can't find straight stick of that size in the balsa bin. I need that 36 grit stuff. This is too slow. 80. For you guys who are on stun hanger, come next month, I got to come up with $1,300 more. We have not done too well on the. Otherwise, you know, stun hanger will go away, and we'll just have this. You know, it don't matter. Because I can't afford it anymore. I carried it for 20 years almost. I carried it the first 6 years with zero help. Because I didn't know how to do AdSense, and till Bud came along. And then everybody whining about no aluminum pads under the motor. Everybody whines about the ads on there, and then they use ad blocker. Then they don't want to support the site. Shit, you know. I'm at the point where I'm ready to turn it over to somebody who wants to take over. I can't do it. No aluminum pads, don't need them. That's 7-ply aircraft plywood. It ain't going nowhere. Plus, it'll have Z-epoxy drenched in it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So, depending, plans for this may come along, but it'll be a few months before they come out, because I'll have to redraw them, redo the pencil sketches. And this airplane is not M30 legal. It's just something I just come up with. I never had a profile Viper back then. I suppose if you made a profile Viper to the dimensions of the original, man, I don't know. I don't even think that's legal. I think it had to be flown. Yes. Yes, it does provide fuel proofing. Okay, there's one done. You know, I did a lot of shit back in the 90s, and I'm surprised I didn't do a profile one of these. That was the days of experimenting. That's where the sorcerer and all that other stuff came from. My buddy Ron O'Toole and I would go to Steak and Shake and sit and talk for over dinner for an hour or two, and I'd draw on napkins, and the next time he saw me, we'd have it ready to go. But never did build a profile Viper. I didn't build many profiles back then, period. Didn't, not for shit. Nothing off of this thing. You know, I could go through the rigmarole of building this up and covering it and all that and lightening it up, but why? The airplane's still going to be 40 ounces, you know. Make it easy on yourself. That's it. That's what it's going to weigh. This one's lighter. That was the outboard side. Of course, I'll probably sand on it some more before we get finishing. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I was going to sell it, but it ain't for sale now. Of course, I could put my brand new one in it. I better keep it. I got a George Aldrich 46 in my Continental. But I got to tell you, I think a Brian Gardner 46 is going to be better than the GMA 46. Super Tiger rings are a problem. And now that Bowman ain't doing rings anymore, where are you going to get them? I'm sure there's somebody can make them, but I think is Bowman still alive even? Yeah, on a profile, I was asked about the plywood doublers on this. On a built-up fuselage, I don't use doublers, plywood. I use balsa doublers. You have more area in a wider berth. You know, there's 1 inch thick top block up there, and you got all kinds of webbing and all that stuff going. So you don't need all that plywood. But on a profile, you need this plywood to keep the nose from vibrating, because if it vibrates, that's what gives you a crappy engine run. So you build this fuselage with 7-ply aircraft plywood, 1/8 inch both sides. You could probably get away with 16th, but I always use 1/8 because it's anti-crush. And then you want at least a 1/2 inch cheek cowl on it. So now we got an inch wide fuselage ahead of the wing. And this will be an exceptionally strong nose because the leading edge keys into the fuselage. Of course, this will be epoxied in. And instead of the cheek cowl coming back and the fuselage coming through, the cheek cowl will go around the 1 inch wide rib that'll stick out here and glue 50%. So you're getting 50% over the top of that. But this cheek cowl won't go on until after the airplane's covered. So the covering will go on, and then the cheek cowl will go on, and then I'll mold it in. And that should lock up that nose tighter than Dick's hat band. When you're building this stuff, try to use engineering to make things strong. Don't try to just throw wood at it. Use engineering. Strategically placed poundage of wood, in this case, not really, because I got all this heavy stuff here. Strategically placed poundage of wood also helps. So if your airplane's all 4 to 6 pound wood and you're looking for the low end, so you're looking for 3.5 to 4.5 pound wood, and it's built throughout your airplane, well, you certainly don't want to use 3.5 pound wood in the doublers. In the nose, you want to use 7 pound wood. So all that crap wood you got, hang on to it, because there's places that you can use it. Like I'm using up the vast majority of my 6 to 7 pound wood right here. Let's see, that was 74. Let's see what we'll see what this is made out of. They were 74 gram. 74. That's 14. Let me get the type machine, the typolator. 74. 36. 3/8. Can't believe I don't have it keyed in there. 3/8. Calculate. The wood that I used here is 6.96 pound wood. Now that's something that I would not use on a big airplane, but so this is basically throwaway stuff for me. 6 pound wood. It's 4 to 6. You cannot build light airplanes with heavy wood. So there's no way that I would use this in a full-size stunner. But on this profile, where we really don't care, whatever, use whatever you got. I think that big long 48-inch piece of 1/2 inch was this 7-pound wood that I used for the fuselage. But here you want, this is like a board. It's like a 2x4. You want some rigidity. If you're using real light wood, this would flex, and certainly don't want that to happen. But it'll be light enough. When I sand, I'm going to sand this to an airfoil. It'll be rounded on the bottom and then shaped to the top. So we'll take 25% of the weight off of this. It'll be shaped up to the top of the turtle deck. Can't mount this though until the wing's built. So it's going to be a trick to sand, but who cares? So we'll get some of the weight off of that, but you don't want to take too much off because you don't want this loose. You could also cut this out, put in some geodesic ribs and sheet it. Tom Morris has sheeted his with 64th ply. The problem with that is, and you can ask John because I've already proved it to him, you can build up an elevator stabilizer of a certain size and it'll come out 3 ounces or whatever. If you can find really good wood, you can make a solid piece of wood. It'll come out 2.5 ounces. The reason for that is all the glue. There ain't no glue in it. So, and it looks much nicer, but good wood is getting extremely hard to find. But we'll just do what we can. This flap right here should be a 1/2 ounce for one of my big airplanes. And this one weighs 20 grams. So it's 3/4 of an ounce mode. 0.8. So this didn't pass the mustard for, it's good wood, it's good and stiff, it's straight, but it didn't pass the mustard for weight. When I build a super light airplane, like the Vipers, and I might make 3 or 4 of one part just to get the lightest one. I know what it should weigh, and if it doesn't weigh that much, don't use it because you're wasting your time. But on this profile, we do not care. It'll be plenty good at 40 ounces. And I think it will be there. I think if it tops out at 45, which won't kill it, but it'll still be good. I'm still debating whether to put aluminum landing gear on it, or I think it's going to be wing mounted no matter what. Just for the simple way I've constructed this nose piece, there's not really any place to mount the gear because they go right underneath the leading edge, and the wing would cut into those tabs. If I thought about it, I could get them on there, but or drill a hole in the fuselage and fish a wire through there and make some 5/16, 5/30, whatever, 32nd bigger than an 1/8. That'd be 5. See, an 1/8 is 232 is a 16 before. That'd be 5/32. 5/32 piece of wire in here, but that's what the volunteers use is 5/32. But it's tough to bend that wire. It's real stout, like bending 1/4 inch. You guys got any questions? You want to know anything in particular what I'm doing? But I've shown you how simple it is to come up with the plans. You get a piece of paper. I don't even normally do this, but I'm doing this stuff especially for my audience. drawn plans, because normally I would just cut wood and be done with it. You can make this on a piece of balsa wood just as easy without the template, by drawing a center line, measuring the width here, measuring the width at the tip, measuring the length here, make a tick mark, and connect the lines together, and there you got it. Not a big deal. But if you're ever going to remake the same thing exactly, again, you know that those templates are nice. That's why I made the rudder template for both of them. And the big airplane and the little airplane are slightly different. Let me find that rudder. Where's the rudder? Here it is. Because of how they're put together. I mean, they're kind of a suggestion that it's the same, but it's not. They have the same, can't really tell. They have the same outlines, but they're not exactly the same, if you know what I mean. This one here has a angled tail post. This one here I just put down straight because the bottom half of this rudder is the fuselage. And you ask, why would you do that? Well, you do that so that it doesn't bend, because the dope will bend the rudder. It won't bend this stick. It'll bend the rudder, though. And if you put uneven amounts of dope on the rudder, doesn't matter what it is, it will bend over in the heat. If you have 5 coats on one side and 3 coats on the other, it'll bend over. So make sure you get equal coats on both sides of the airplane. That includes the wings, top and bottom. So if you got 3 on the bottom, put 3 on the top, or 5 or 6 or whatever the number is. Make sure you get the same amount of dope on top and bottom applied in equal amounts. Don't put on one light coat and one wet coat. Get it equal, flowing out. And it is best to flow the dope on so that it's wet. And you say, what do you mean by that? Thinner. You got to have lots of thinner in it. The thinner melts from one coat to the next, leaving a chemical bond. Otherwise, you go back and go on Paul Taylor's channel and watch some of those windy tapes where Rich Gacabone is finishing his Stuka. He's having all kinds of pull-up problems. Well, first off, Wendy's got him using silver as a base. Never use silver. Silver is ground up aluminum in the binder. The adhesion properties of silver is like 0. It's like total shit. So you got to use lots of thinner. So what these guys try to do to make it light is not use thinner and just put on a light dust coat of. Oh, another thing Wendy does, he decants the paint. What is that? Well, that's pouring off the binder. What you end up with there is chalk. So you got straight pigment. Yeah, it covers really good, but it's got no chemical to bind from one coat to the next. So don't decant. Don't use silver. Terrible idea. It really, his airplanes are gorgeous because he spends a lot of time fixing the buggers. If he were just to use my system, my system of paint where you get 1 quart of dope, which I think Wendy's 1 coat is a quart for Wendy. His airplane would be 4 to 8 ounces lighter. Don't decant the paint. Don't use silver. Flow the coats on. Use lots of thinner so that it looks shiny because it's binding from 1 coat to the next. I think that's why my system is. It's pretty bulletproof. You don't have any pull-ups as long as you're flowing the dope on. I mean, once in a while, like on the Simply Blues, I got 1 or 2 little pull-ups where I got left some dirt on it or something. And the blue tape lifted the paint. That yellow 3M tape that I'm using, you can get a good crisp line on that where you don't need the fine line. It's not like the old days of the crepe tape where you had to paint clear on it before you shot any paint on it to get a nice line. That yellow tape is very expensive. It's automotive stuff. But you figure, hey, if they're using it for cars, it'd probably work on airplanes. It's great, you know. We started at 16. I bet I didn't drop shit on this thing. I try to get these in the 12-gram range, but these are not going to do it because they're 7-pound wood. But it's just a pukey profile. Yeah, we're not going to do I'm going to use my hinges, but I'm not going to do a pocket hinge situation on this. I thought about it, you know, I could use those plate hinges, but just as easy to use my pocket or my popsicle hinges. Got an email the other day about a guy who tested out my hinges and loved them. Well, duh, I wouldn't recommend them to you. They're the tits, boy. At least we won't have to do this. Well, when I'm done, it'll be ready to go. 180 or 180, 320, and put them together. So total time working on this airplane today is, let's see, hour and 35 minutes plus about a half hour in the garage, about 2 hours so far. So we had a couple hours yesterday and a couple hours today. You could easily build this airplane in 40 hours, not a problem. Probably less than that. Probably less than that. When I sit down and build one of these, I don't look at it as a job. I look at it, how much fun am I going to have next summer with this stuff? Yeah, I'll get that sanded a little better with 180. Let's see what it weighs. Drop the no, still at 16. 16, 16, 32. It's over an ounce for two of them. Is that a full balsa block? Is what a full balsa block? I don't have any blocks here. I got planks and stuff. We're using up my garbage wood. Okay, let's see what this weighs before we start. 34. If I get it down to 30, I'll be happy. Ain't gonna happen, but we'll try. You know, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I never see anybody sanding. Never. Just too boring. But you guys like it. So you just wait for me to screw something up, I'm sure. So we're gonna need to, because it's round, we're gonna need to use a round block. So we'll use this. Nope, we're gonna get my round bar. That's what I'm gonna do. Why am I making things difficult for myself? You guys need to order yourself a set of Durablock sanding blocks. You get this round block, you get a couple long blocks, a couple short blocks, a couple soft blocks. right there. Might be hard to get that up. Have to use the Dremel. Get it? Have to use the Dremel to get it. $26. That's good. That's good. I'm glad it helps, you know. And trust me, a lighter airplane flies a whole lot better than a lumber wagon. A lot more fun to fly instead of getting beat up with a large barge. You know, people say, well, you can build them too light. Yeah, you might be able to, but I never seen one. Some of them engineer fellas will tell you it's going to be, you build it too light, but don't you buy it. Don't believe it. Which I don't understand is how them engineer guys can sit and tell me with a straight face that it doesn't matter how heavy it is. It's simple physics, and I'm no physics major. Body in motion tends to stay in motion unless acted upon by an equal and opposite force. So if you're going 55 miles an hour and you snap it into a turn and it's 80 ounces, how much force is that going to take? Well, it's going to take twice as much as if it was 40 ounces. It's going to turn twice as far. It's ridiculous. Stupid. Oh, yeah. I think that motor's probably in the 7-ounce range. Might be 6.5. I can't remember. I probably got one here. So, as long as we know that we're going to run a light power plant like a Fox 35 that's in the 6-ounce range, 8.6, okay, in the 6-ounce range, that means that your airplane has to be extremely light behind the center of gravity. Otherwise, it won't turn. Because back, like this airplane here has a 9-inch nose moment with a 14.5-inch tail moment. Back in the day, when we built profiles and built smaller airplanes, they were judged, the moments were judged by your hand. So, and what I mean by that is, like this. This is the nose moment from the leading edge to the nose, to the back of the spinner. And this is the trailing, or the, oh, wait a minute, right here. Here we go. This is the elevator, or the tail moment. They didn't measure it from the hinge line. They measured it from the back of the flaps to the leading edge of the stab. So that's how much flap I need right there. They use their hands. You need no stinking tape measure. Just use your hand. You know why a guy goes like that and he looks at his thumb and then he looks at the part? It's perspective. Well, if the thumb is that long, that's a half inch, and I can see that 10 foot away that thing's a half inch, that thing has to be 3 inches. TLAR, that looks about right. If they taught more of that shit in school instead of wokeitarianism, the world would be a better place. People know how to do something. Some of them guys couldn't even read a tape measure. Yes, I used to ask him a trick question, and I'll ask you guys this trick question. How many little marks between 0 and 1 are there on a tape measure? Let's see who can get it. Nope. Guess you have to pull out your tape measure and start counting. Well, I'll tell you, there's 15. You would think there'd be 16, but 0 don't count and 1 don't count. So you got 15 16ths between 0 and 1. Well, that's going to take a lot of work to get that right. Ways. How long? Wow, inch has long, short, medium. I don't know what that means. We get 2 grams off of it. Woo, man, we're smoking 2 whole grams. Okay, let's get some 180 and get a shape in it now. That's 320. That's 400. Where's my 180? Over there. I'm gonna have to get me some more 180. Inches are hard. No, I don't think so. Inches ain't hard. It's simple. Ah, shit. Well, there you have it. It's roughed in now. I mean, all it needs is sanded with 320. Be ready for covering. Yeah, let's see what it looks like. I don't know if I want to round that over, and I think I'll round it over. Make a round. Yep. Yep, it's just a balsa scoot. It's a 7-pound balsa sheet. 6.9 too, but might as well say 7 pounds. But I'm going to show you that you can build a light airplane with heavier wood. You can't use much of it. I'm waiting on another load of light wood before we start on another Viper. We got to get some 5-pound stuff. Yeah, we're building it just like old school. It'll be fine. I like the shape of them tips. It looks good. I might try a 7-pitch propeller on this so I can really slow her down and get that big growl, that Super Tiger growl. Rawr. Load the motor. This will be at Rodex next year. I don't think they fly profile at the Nat, so it won't be there. But you'll be at Rodex. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. Be happy with that. So we spent an hour sanding, just like I said. Probably take an hour of detail sanding yet. We're not going to show that. I'm just. Any lacquer on it before paint to lock it in the fibers and sanding? Yes, 3 coats. No, I was running OS 32s before anybody. My OS 32Fs, I was running those in 89, I think 89 or 90. Whenever they first came out, I saw one at Schaefer's Hobby, and I go, Ron and I were there, and he goes, well, we need to look at that one. And I built that Sorcerer in 90. And I tell that story. I didn't have a venturi for it, and it was on pressure, and I took off. It was on a pipe, less nearing pipe, and it went into hyper mode. It sounded like a speed plane, about 150 miles an hour. So I didn't bother with that. I got the venturi from Jim Lee. Told him what I wanted. It's a stock engine, they stock. They work perfect. No, all that reworking stuff they work perfect, just like Super Tigers. This was built by BEM Phase 1. That means you took it apart and cleaned it, maybe. Super Tiger 60, right out of the package. Works absolutely perfect if you set it up the way I tell you. The OS 32F works perfect right out of the box if you set it up like I tell you. Tiger 46s work perfect. There's no need for all this breathing on. I mean, you can't tell the difference between the engine runs, except for a Brian Gardner liner. The Brian Gardner engines do run different, and they run much better. And that's to get rid of that dorky ring. So there is a change there. I've mostly done my own work. Just like a PA, what any ones of the PAs. There's no need to doctor on them. You take it out of the box, start it up, break it in. They work perfect right out of the box. Can't get those no more, so we're not going to worry about them. The electric guys are going to shoot themselves in the foot when people figure out, well, shit, this ain't no damn good. This electric phase is just like the four-stroke phase was. Ooh, Paul Walker's winning with a four-stroke. Let's buy a four-stroke. That thing was a brick, and they got no power. Everybody's winning now with an electric. Ooh, we got to sell our glow and buy electric. No, I tried it. I built 6 purpose-built electrics, and I found there's no comparison. I don't care how many times they the electrics is the greatest and this, that, and the other. BS. Electrics ain't no good. Not to me. You can have my share. But if somebody wants to fly it, knock yourself out. At least you're flying. But I'm not interested. You got to remember, them guys that are winning with the electrics and with the 4 strokes and all that, they could swing a rock and win with it. You want different winners at the Nats? Change the judges. Get yourself some judges out of Ball State that don't know anybody, and there's going to be a different winner. I'll guarantee it. The halo flies. Yeah, I like it. Glad I built that tonight. That turned out nice. So I need to dig around on my stuff and see if I can find another flap. I think this is pretty close to the shape I need. If we can cut the tips off some. This is pretty roundy here. I'll have to lay it out and look at it. I think these are too long. Yep, change the judges. I love the guys that say, well, you can't get people from Ball State, the kids from college to judge stunt. Why not? The mathematicians know what a square look like, squares and triangle, and well, they don't know the people. That's exactly right. They don't. You have to the ambient. No, that's not it. You bought to Randy in '93. What did you buy in '93? Like I say, 32F, I was flying in 90, I think. Pretty sure it was 90. Yeah. They work good. If you get a less nearing pipe, I got the header for it. Get a less nearing pipe and put it on that little header. OS sells them. You probably could still find it on eBay or whatever. You got to add a piece of conduit in though. You got to add probably 6 inches of conduit between the header and the pipe. The pipe doesn't burn up. On mine here, I'm going to try. I have an aluminum pipe. I'm going to try a Taytone aluminum pipe, or maybe it's not Taytone. It's whoever made the aluminum pipes, them quiet pipes and them all that. I can't remember who did it. But I'm gonna try aluminum pipe, and that's the reason I'm gonna try that. Frank Williams and I talked about pipes, and he's probably the only guy out there that really understands how they work. They don't work by exhaust pressure; they work by sound wave. And if you can tune that sound wave to the correct RPM, you got it. But you got to remember that pipe only works at 1 RPM. Torque pipes have big stingers. High RPM pipes have small, long stingers. Well, I've given the class today. I hope you guys got something out of it. 2 hours, pretty well spent after 2 hours. I'll continue to work tonight. I'll see if I can get me some ribs cut. 11.4 BYNO RPM. Yeah. I use 11.45 APC on it, and it works pretty good, about 11,000. Yeah, you got to have 11-inch prop on that little motor because it'll spin up a 9-inch prop like a combat engine, or a 10-inch prop like a combat motor. I think it's got as much power as a Super Tiger 60. I mean, it's a helicopter engine. It's made to turn up. All right, I'm out of here. Fair winds, tight lines. We'll see you tomorrow. Leave a comment in the after the show's over, please. See ya.